Good morning and happy Madaraka Day to you. The 63rd Madaraka Day when Kenya was given an opportunity for self-governance and self-rule after we told the white man, leave the country, we can run our business as Kenyans. My name is Dennis Aseto. Welcome to this special coverage of Madaraka Day that is coming to you from Wajir, the very first historic moment for the northeastern region as national celebrations are being taken in Wajir County. Remember that the military just concluded the construction of the new stadia that would see Kenyans walk in and be part and parcel of this historic celebration. I'm not alone. I am with a crew of individuals. We begin with Grace Nganga, who is in Wajir County, as well as Suleiman Yeri, and the entire team making sure that this production is coming to you one by one, blow by blow, as everything will be happening from Wajir. We start with Grace Nganga. Grace, how are you? I hear that you're no longer Grace, but Nasra, which means blessing. Nasra, what's coming? What's new from Wajir?
Salam alaikum, my dear friend Dennis Aseto from Nairobi HQ. We are live here in Wajir. In Swahili, they say hayawi hua. But in Swahili, we are saying patience pays. 63 years later, a national holiday being hosted here in a northeastern region. Quite a big deal for the residents here, as they said that normally they've been watching it, they've been just hearing about it, they've been feeling that they're really off, they're not part of the country. But once these celebrations have been brought here into Wajir, they say it's a new awakening for them. Finally, they are feeling as though that, they belong to this precious country that they love and adore. We've been camping here from as early as 4 a.m. in the morning. And as you can see, the stadium is almost packed. Residents have been walking in from as early as 4 a.m. They are seated. We saw the early morning rehearsals just from the men in uniform, so that they can give us a spectacular display later on once President William Ruto arrives here at this stadium. As you can see, hundreds of Kenyans are already seated. Mic check is ongoing. And like I said, it is one of the biggest days of the residents here of Wajir County, as it is a memorable event that is taking place here. The theme of this day is education and sustainability, a very key theme. Remember, sadly, we've lost 16 young souls following the school fire that happened last week. So this year's theme is coming at a very pivotal role. We want to understand more of it. Remember, President William Ruto has really not said much about that particular event, but we know that he's been sending his team, the Education Cabinet Secretary Julius Bigambo, as well as Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen, who have been on the ground just to survey things for him. He has not yet said much about it officially, but of course that is one of the key things that we are expecting from his address this morning. But just away from that, I'm not alone, Aseto. I'm joined by our very own Ahmed Hussein, who's our reporter from Wajir. Finally, we have come. We have come to you guys. How does this even feel when a national event is being hosted here?
It's very exciting. It's very, very exciting. It's something that has never happened before. Residents from this region have been yearning for all of it all these years, because having covered people from remote areas, people who have all this time been watching these kind of occasions on TV, or rather even I've never heard of it, and today it's being here. Remember that the northern region has been the forgotten part of the country for a long time, and basic resources, even a Madaraka Day here, even basic resources, they have not been getting. So as a journalist, we've been covering this region all these years, speaking to people in villages, in remote areas, talking about how they want to be part of the government and how they have been left out, to this occasion where Wajir is hosting its first, and the first for the larger northern Kenya. Is very exciting, it's very inspiring. And the whole of this week, Grace, excitement has been building. People they could not wait. When it was first of all announced, majority of the other Kenyans doubted whether it's going to happen, whether this stadium is going to be complete. But you can see it's just a state of the art. It's a landmark, a very monumental for the people of Wajir, and for myself as a resident of Wajir, having born here in Wajir County. It feels great. It really feels great.
I can imagine, but I just want to understand, growing up, how was it? Where were you watching it from? You were told you were watching it. Was it through TV, radio, or you were just like, okay, one day maybe it will come? And did you even envision that a day like this will come and you are covering this Mashujadi from your own region?
Well, growing up, I think radio has been the only thing that we are able to listen to it. But even more so, because of the, all the signals and everything, it has not been possible. So people have been hearing that there is national celebrations, but for me, growing up and not having not watched it, not having not seen it, because this place is very, very remote, to today covering it, I mean, like, it gives me immense pleasure, very, very immense pleasure. I'm so happy, I'm so excited. And I'm very, very happy for these people, because you can remember that this now is actually, it's actually erasing the misconceptions about whether these people are part of the country. For a long time, since revolution has come in, they've started getting resources. And right now, Wajir hosting this and being part of this, it's very great day, Grace. But now, looking back, for these people, this is not only a state function, it's also a long-awaited moment of recognition. They feel like now they are at the center of national development. They feel like now they are part and parcel of this country. They have been part constitutionally, they are Kenyans. But before they used to say when you're going to Nairobi, you're going to Kenya. Now Nairobi has come here. Other Kenyans are here. So now Kenya is here. So it means like now Kenya has come to them. So now you can just understand how it feels. It's very great. And you have seen the whole of this week. Last night, when you spoke to residents here, you interviewed them, you saw how excited they are. This morning at 4 a.m., people have they're already seated. Last night, people didn't sleep. They couldn't even wait. So, and every time they have been wanting for this day to come, and now they're seated waiting for the president. For them to see the president inspect a guard of honor here in Wajir Stadium, that is what they have never, ever, even seeing it, they have never even dreamt of, witnessing it. And today they have a chance. So it's a great, great event here. It's a great day. And hopefully this now will be the start of a new era for them. It changes everything. That Kenya as a country and northeastern region, they have come from far. And today they're enjoying it.
It is beautifully said there, because it says that Nairobi has now come to the northern eastern region, and the KTN Mombasa Road, we have brought it here as well. But let us also talk about the education, because that is the theme. I'm sure you've gone through the education system from here, and even when we were coming, there were some schools that we were seeing, and they were not in as some of the good states. What are you really anticipating to hear from the president in terms of changing the education sector in this particular region?
Well, the education in this region has been lagging behind, and solely you've seen all the challenges. Infrastructure-wise, it's been down, and then there's also the teacher exodus from this region because of insecurity. And those issues right now, at least for the last few years, it's been very stable. But it's still the foundation level of the education system that's coming up now. It needs to resonate with these people. We need to have more resources here. We need to have more educational policies targeting people who have not got, the fundamental basic foundation of the education, which I think the president, I'm hoping for, and many Kenyans here and people from the northeastern region are hoping.
Second, China's diplomatic offensive versus Trump's
technology can also be used to try to leverage to boost education in these areas. The teaching crisis has been an issue for them for a long time, and majority of the teachers, because of insecurity here and there, have left. But now they're trying to, come up with a structured approach to try to arrest this situation and try to have people from this region to get as quality education as the rest of the country. So it's a monumental day. It's a very, very monumental day. And I think choosing the theme, education, sustainability, and the challenges people are facing here, I think that one it lines up very well with this, because education is an equalizer. Someone who is in a village that doesn't have water and basic resources, if he gets proper education, you can ascend to the highest level and make a difference out there. So I feel like the theme resonates with the education being held here in the northeastern region. So I'm expecting a lot of goodies from the president. Also, other important, infrastructural developments also in this region. We're also expecting it.
All right, because he covers for us this region from the Standard Media Group, and we really appreciate you for that. One of the biggest questions that someone out there may be asking is that we have a new education system now, which is the CBE, and it involves a lot of technology, and it involves a lot of homework that, when you, in this region, how is it even, how is it working? Because, like I said, there are some schools have no electricity, some schools have no water. Are there cyber cafes to even print some of these homework? How is it when it comes to CBC, the new implementation in this particular region?
Well, that's why I mentioned the basic foundation of education, because now the CBC has come in and parents are supposed to be, play a very, very major role. But the parents themselves are not, they don't even understand the modalities of this CBC. So I think they need civic education, they need to be trained, they need to be brought in for capacity building, and even more so, those are for those ones who are in urban areas like Wajir town. If you go to villages, remote areas, they don't even have electricity. So we can understand that there are more challenges, technology-wise, they are not yet there, electricity is not there, infrastructural challenges are still there. So I think more needs to be done, because most of the parents need to be brought into this. They need to own this education system. They need to play a huge role, and I think at the moment there is that gap. And I think once that gap is filled, the students who are now transitioning from the CBC, transition rather from the ECD to the junior and other levels, I think once they're equipped with those qualities, I think it's going to become better. So, Grace, I think more needs to be done on that sector. Otherwise, I think all these resources that are being put into national development at the top, once things are not trickling down there and not having the proper education foundation, it's going to be a challenge. But we are hoping that's some of the issues that we are hoping to be addressed. And from here, we're expecting more conferences, we're expecting more training, we're expecting more discussions and conversations on this.
All right, that is Ahmed Hussein, our very own reporter who covers for us this particular region here in Wajir. We appreciate him and what he does for the team. As Tato rightfully said, there a very important theme that is coming at a very crucial region here where education they're just hoping for equality, and they're really having a lot of hopes in what the president is going to say today in regards to education in this region. But I'm now going to hand it over, I think, to Suleiman Yeri on the other side, just to tell us more from what he gathers, but we'll be getting in touch a little later on.
The smile that Ahmed has on his face with the Madaraka Day, the 63rd edition, a historic one for that matter, going to Wajir County. The smile on his face just tells it all. One would explain why the region is happy and elated to have this day and the celebrations being held in their vicinity. But then again, we touch base with Suleiman Yeri. Salaam alaikum Yeri, how are you? And yapi mapya kutoka Wajir?
Ibrahim Aseto, mengi kutoka hapa Wajir. Kwa kweli ni tabasamu, furaha, kwa sababu hayawi yamekuwa. Leo ndio siku ya mwana kuzaliwa hapa katika kaunti hii ya Wajir, ikiwa ndio kwa mara ya kwanza katika miaka 63 ya uhuru wa taifa hili la Kenya wanapata sherehe hizi za Madaraka kufanyika katika eneo hili. Ulivyomsikiza Ahmed Hussein awali akisema kwamba Kenya iko Wajir, kwa maana gani? Yaani taifa zima limefika katika eneo hili ili kuweza kuhakikisha kwamba wao pia wanajihisi kwamba ni wa Kenya, na sio tu wa Kenya wakati taifa linaenda katika uchaguzi. Viongozi wanakuja hapa kuwaomba kura zao, lakini nao pia wanajipata wapo katika ile keki ya taifa. Wao ni miongoni mwa wale ambao wanahitajika kuhusika katika ujenzi wa taifa hili na kulisongeza mbele. Kauli mbiu ya mwaka huu ikiwa ni ujuzi na elimu na siku za mbeleni. Siku za mbeleni ni zipi? Kubadilisha sera na hali ilivyokuwa katika eneo hili, kuhakikisha kwamba eneo hili linajihisi lipo katika safari ya mbele, na vile vile taifa linapoenda mbele basi wanasonga nao pamoja. Nataka nichukue kauli za baadhi ya wenyeji hapa, nisikie wanajihisi vipi kuhusiana na masuala haya ambayo yamekuwa yakifanyika katika eneo hili. Nizungumze na baadhi ya wazee ambao wako hapa, tusikie kauli zao ni zipi, hususan wakati huu ambapo sherehe hizi zinafanyika. Habari gani? Unajihisi vipi hizi sherehe kuja hapa Wajir leo?
Sherehe iko sawa, nzuri, tuko tayari kusikiza rais.
Safi. Haya, vipi unajihisi vipi kuwa katika sherehe hizi leo hapa?
Wajir. Farahi sana.
Mzuri sana.
Unajivunia nini hasa katika hii hali uliona, uwanja, barabara?
Kuna furaha kwa kuleta Madaraka.
Madaraka ndio furaha sana. Sana.
Asante sana. Hao ni baadhi tu ya wakazi wa eneo hili la Wajir ambao wanajihisi kwamba wapo vyema sana, hususan kutokana na swala hili. Uwanja huu tayari umejaa kwa sababu kadri tunavyoona wakazi wameingia takriban 10,000 hapa, ambapo wanatarajiwa kufika hapa kuhudhuria sherehe hizi za Madaraka ambazo zinafanyika hapa. Nisikie baadhi ya kauli za wazee ambao wako hapa. Vipi bwana, mzima? Unajihisi vipi kuwa hapa leo hii na sherehe hizi kuandaliwa huku kwa mara ya kwanza?
Niko na furaha tele. Sherehe inaandaliwa hapa Wajir ama kaskazini mashariki kwa mara ya kwanza tangu tupate uhuru.
Kwa mnajihisi ni kama watu mliotengwa ama watu mliosahaulika, na nafasi hii kuja inawapatia nini hasa?
No, hatukusahaulika, lakini kimaendeleo tulikuwa tumebaki nyuma kwa muda mrefu.
Asante sana. Kimaendeleo wanajihisi kwamba walikuwa wamebaki nyuma kwa muda mrefu sana, lakini kwa sasa hivi wanajihisi nao pia wapo ndani ya taifa ambalo linawajali, linaangalia maendeleo tu, sio yanayofanyika katika sehemu nyingine, lakini maendeleo ambao pia yanaletwa katika sehemu yao ambao wapo ili kuweze kuzungumza. Tuzungumze nawe. Unajihisi vipi kuwa hapa leo hii?
Tunafurahi sana, ni mara yetu ya kwanza kama kaskazini mashariki ambaye tulishuhudia Mashujaa Day ambaye imekuwa hapa kaunti yetu. So tunafurahi sana na tunashukuru Rais Ruto. Tunasema tu tamu sisi kama watu wa North Eastern. Tunashukuru sana na tuko furaha sana. We are very happy. Thank you.
Kando na tutam, maendeleo ambayo yamefanyika, barabara, uzinduzi wa barabara kutoka Habaswein kuelekea katika maeneo haya ya Wajir, inamaanisha nini kwenu nyinyi watu wa Wajir?
Vile unajua rais amekuwa rais kitu ambaye hata haiwezi fika miaka 5, lakini tunaweza sema tumepata maendeleo kama hii stadium, tumepata state lodges, tumepata mabarabara, maji, lakini bado iko mingi ambaye hatujapata. Vile unajua North Eastern haina maji. Wakati ukame wanyama wanakufa, watu wanakufa. Bado tunaomba serikali watu waongeze maendeleo ili tupate maji, tupate barabara, tupate kitu mingi, tupate mashule. Hatuna universities, no universities, hakuna level 5 hospital ama level 6 hospital. Bado iko kitu mingi hatujapata, lakini tuko na tamaa ambaye kama tunaweza pata kwa serikali ya Kenya kwanza, kama tunaweza pata kitu mingi ambayo tunataka.
Tumezungumzia masuala ya level 5, level 6, tumeona referral imejengwa hapa sasa hivi. Hii inaonyesha kwamba matibabu yatakuwa hapa karibu. Umeitisha kuwe na chuo kikuu hapa, na kauli mbiu ya Madaraka Day ni masuala ya elimu na vile vile ujuzi. Unadhani kwamba kuna haja ya kupanua elimu ama kielimu eneo hili lilikuwa limesalia nyuma ama liko vipi?
Naam, sisi kwa kama hizo hospitali nini bado tunahitaji iongezwe, lakini kama Madaraka Day leo inasimamia kitu kama education in future skills. Bado tuna tamaa kubwa sana, rais anatuongezea mashule, tukue na future, watoto wetu wakuwe na bright future, wakuwe na ujuzi, wapate skills, tupate kama TVETs, colleges. Tuko na tamaa sana, lakini tunaweza amini almost 80% ama 70% ya maendeleo ya Kenya zingine sisi bado hatujapata, lakini sasa hii ndo ni kama Northern Kenya inazaliwa sasa hii. Thank you.
Amezungumza kwa ufasaha, amezungumza kama mzalendo, mkazi, mzao wa eneo hili la Wajir, akizungumzia yale ambayo wanataka kuyaona katika miaka 63. Wanatamani, lakini sio matumaini tu. Kando na matumaini, wanatarajia kwamba kutakuwa na yale yanayotekelezwa, sio ahadi tu, iwe ni kauli ambazo zinatiliwa pondo, sio kauli ambazo tu zimekuwa zimezungumzwa na kuachiwa tu barabarani ambavyo wanasiasa hufanya. Kwa kweli eneo hili limebadilika pakubwa. Wenyewe ukiwasikia wanasema ungekuja Wajir lakini usingepata baadhi ya barabara kwa sababu barabara zilikuwa na vumbi, ilikuwa ni ugumu kufika eneo hili, lakini sasa hivi kuna stima ambapo hiyo stima inawasaidia pakubwa kuweza kufanya shughuli zao. Na tukimzungumzia jana tumeweza kumsikia katibu akisema kwamba stima hii ambayo imewekwa hapa sasa inafanyiwa juhudi iwe ni stima ambayo itakuwa ni ya kudumu, sio stima tu ambayo itakuwa ni ya muda mfupi na kupotea. Nizungumzie siku ya leo kwa sababu tayari tumeanza kuona viongozi mbalimbali ambao wameanza kuwasili katika eneo hili kuweza kuhutubu na vile vile kuweza kuhudhuria hafla hii ambayo inafanyika katika eneo hili. Tayari wa vijana, wanafunzi ambao walikuwa wanatarajiwa wamekaa katika sehemu zao. Majukwaa haya ambayo yako hapa, wananchi wameshajaa katika eneo hili. Unaona wananchi kutoka maeneo mbalimbali, na sio ati tu ni jamii moja ambayo iko hapa, ni Kenya nzima iko hapa, inawakilishwa hapa. Jamii zote kutoka maeneo mbalimbali unaziona hapa, zimejumuika hapa kuweza kusherehekea siku hii ya Madaraka ambao ni sherehe za 63 zinafanyika katika kaunti hii. Kumbuke kwamba taifa limekuwa likibadilisha jinsi ambavyo imekuwa ikisherehekea sherehe hizi za kitaifa, zikizitoa katika baadhi ya eneo kwamba sherehe za kitaifa zilikuwa zinafanyika katika kaunti ya Nairobi peke yake, lakini sasa sherehe za kitaifa zimekuwa kwamba zinapelekwa kwa mwananchi ili mwananchi naye aweze kujihisi kuwa sehemu ya serikali, sehemu ya taifa hili. Tumeziona kutoka ya kwanza ikifanyika katika kaunti ya Embu hadi sasa hivi ambayo inafanyika hapa katika ikiwa ya 17 inafanyika katika kaunti hii ya Wajir sasa hivi. Ni kwamba inawaonesha wananchi kwamba serikali inawajali wao. Serikali imekuwa ikiwahusisha wao katika utekelezaji wa masuala haya ya sherehe hizi za kitaifa. Ni sherehe moja tu ambayo inafanyika jijini Nairobi, sherehe zile za Jamhuri ambao huwa ni tarehe 12 Disemba ndio zinafanyika katika jiji la Nairobi, lakini hizi nyingine zote zimekuwa zikisambaa, zikitapakaa katika baadhi ya kaunti, kila kaunti ikihisi uwepo wa serikali. Nataka nikuregeshe kwake studioni Dennis Aseto.
Shukran Suleiman Yeri, ukifanya kazi kabambe ukiwa uko Wajir. We shall be touching base with you and the team a little bit later as we see the residents of Wajir County are elated. Even some don't have words to say, just expressing happiness and joy, saying the arrival of Madaraka Day being hosted in the county is a new baby that has been born in the region, and that for once they feel as though they do belong. We shall be touching base with our reporters who are based there and also others across the country to just bring us up to speed on how the celebrations are taking place in various counties across the country. But aside from that, in studio as well to just have this discussion with me is Steve Ogutu, who is a policy and governance expert. We shall be looking at the theme. Remember, it is encircled around education, skills and the future. And today we shall be having the discussions in terms of education, where we are, what we expect the president to say, especially these coming just days after that accident that happened in Nakuru Utumishi Girls Senior School. Good morning. How are you, Steve?
I'm very good, Dennis, and happy Madaraka Day to you.
To you too.
Yeah.
Here we are, and we've just seen how the Kenyans in Wajir have received them hosting, being the host of this year's Madaraka Day. And from how we've just had them speak, they are elated. Some don't even have words.
Right.
What, with these, in a region especially that has been for a very long time, been seen as being removed from the day-to-day running, or rather because of their distance for some weird reason,
right,
they have always been alienated. What does this really mean to the residents of Wajir?
Right. I think it means what one of the residents there said, the renaissance of, or a rebirth, if you like, of the region, because as you correctly pointed out, it's an area that has been marginalized for a very long time, and they've been feeling like they're not part of this country because of many other historical injustices that have faced that region. If you look at issues of, Wagala massacre, You look at other issues around, the region being categorized as an ASAR region, as an arid and semi-arid region, so they face a lot of climate change issues, and they're really marginalized from the mainstream development of this country. And so this event, this national event, Madaraka Day, being hosted in that region, comes with its own package of hope and benefits for the people. Yeah. We have seen the new stadium that has been built there.
10,000 capacity.
10,000 capacity. I mean, that is very impressive. And even the road and the other infrastructure expansion in that region is something that we must celebrate. And I'm sure they are really elated about this.
Yep. When we think about the northern eastern region for a very long time, it has been associated with the insecurity. It has been associated with being dry, nothing much to talk about. Education, like the gentleman has said, for a very long time, they've lagged behind. But that notwithstanding, if you just hear them speak, they are elated, saying, we have not really been forgotten. We have lagged behind. But this is an opportunity for us to rise again. And the presence of the country being there today, government being there, because president, entire government is in Wajir County today. And you look at development that we talk about. And perhaps this is an opportunity for the rest of the country to view Northeastern in different light, one would say.
Right. You're very right about that. And I think, it's not just a national event. An event like this, we also have diplomatic corps attending, the ambassadors and other representatives from other countries and development agencies attending. And it's really raising the profile of that region in terms of the potential that is there that need to be tapped. And I think this is one of the areas that, that has the most resilient people. They've gone through a lot. They really are struggling to overcome every day they live the daily realities of climate change, extreme weathers, marginalization like we have noted before. But they are surviving. I mean, they are trying to overcome these obstacles. And, one of the things that I think we must celebrate is devolution, which has really tried to reduce that marginalization gap. And I think maybe we'll get into this deeper later. But I think this is an area that, as residents, whether of Wajir or other parts of the country, we really need to strengthen. We have to ensure that the leadership, our governors and MCAs and even the MPs at the local level are really held accountable to ensure that devolution really delivers. For the people of these regions.
Yeah. I mean, just looking at the amazing work and I think we must give them their flowers today, the military, and amazing job they've done in construction of that facility there, the Wajir Stadium. And you look at the development alone that Madaraka celebrations has taken to the county. You talk about the roads that is there, and even just security that for a very long time has been elusive. Today, because government is there, the security is very tight, perhaps goes also to show that Kenya is ready to secure each and every single person despite external threat that we receive. I know our team, when they were going there, they were assured of security from Nairobi all the way to Wajir, and that goes to speak in terms of Kenya is moving forward despite the challenges, perhaps.
Right. Yeah, I mean, if you look at the history of security and, over the past maybe 10 or 15 years, we had very high cases of terrorism and suicide bombers and other types of insecurity issues, especially in that part of the country. But we have seen that really going down. I think the government has really been trying to put into place mitigation measures to ensure that that does not, occur. Of course, we still see some pockets of that. Recently, we saw the conflict, between Kitui resident county and the region. And I think these are things that the leadership of these regions must seek to address because it really impedes progress and the unity, which is a very important cornerstone of development. We hope that those kind of issues can be addressed, that anyone from any part of this country feel comfortable, wherever they decide to go. They feel at home and not feel threatened, like we saw in those Kitui and I think the Wajir part of the country.
Yeah. So today the president is expected to address a lot of issues, including the theme, which is on matters to do with education. And if you look at the region at a time before, when we saw teachers would be attacked in the region, there was the entire talk of let everyone to teach in their locale. The ministry opposed that and said teachers are supposed to teach across the country. And we look at investments that have gone into that, setting up of teacher training colleges in the region, and just ensuring that there are a number of teachers in the same. But also we can't move away from the fact that the region has not seen enough investment in matters to do with education. We also not forget the conversation that was raised with former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua about schools in the region as well. What do we expect the president to tell the residents today, especially on education?
Right. I think as we talk about this very important topic, allow me at this juncture to just relay my very deep condolences to the families that lost their children at the Tumishi Academy. I think that was very tragic. And I think as we wait to hear the president speak today, I hope that one of the issues he's going to address is the safety of this country, our children, in school, and because that's very important. But I also hope that he's going to really, discuss, how, the safety of teachers in that region, more investment in terms of expansion of schools. I think that is a very serious issue, and I think not just for Northeastern, I think across the country, with all this 100% transition, it's become a thorn in the flesh for most schools, because most schools don't have the capacity to hold these high numbers that are being churned from primary school to secondary schools. I really hope that the government can really try to address this issue. The issue of capitation, I just recently was in the village, and I serve in a board of a local school, and I was having a conversation with the principal of that school in Gibbs, County, where I come from. And the principal was really complaining about delayed disbursement of funding and these capitation issues, and how principals are really being subjected to a lot of stress, because you have very limited resources, but you have a lot to do in terms of the day-to-day running of the school. And I hope that this government can really prioritize education, because this is a very, very important foundation for this country.
Do you reckon that in his address today, the president would be able to address Kenyans and explain why his government is accused of delayed capitation? Are we likely to get an answer today?
I think that...
And if we get an answer today, one would ask another question: why so long?
Yeah, I think that our hope is, and I think there's a hope of most Kenyans, if not all Kenyans, that he's going to give a very reassuring statement on how the government will tackle this. At independence, our forefathers identified 3 issues. that they felt would be very important ingredients for development. One of them was, alienating diseases. And then there was ignorance, and then poverty.
Yes.
Right? But 63 years down the line, we still have children who cannot access education because they can't afford it. It's actually become more expensive even to access high school, leave alone university or colleges. And I think these are issues that we must tackle as a country because these are development issues. Right now, there's a very big conversation on AI and machine learning and how this is really threatening the future of this country. So if we don't prepare our citizens, our young people to be future ready, I think we are setting ourselves, for something that, for failure as a nation. Recently I was listening to a speech by Elon Musk in one of these government summits, that are held annually, I think in Qatar. And he was speaking about the impact of AI. And he was saying that, I think this is common knowledge, that in the next by 2050 thereabout, a lot of these jobs are going to be automated, and governments these global governments must begin thinking about how do we safeguard the future of future generation? What policies do they need to put now, to help address some of these issues? He was actually saying that by 2050, more than 50% of jobs would be automated, and there's going to be need for governments to think about the minimum income for people. Like you give what they call the socio, these funds that are given to older people. Now everybody, most people will actually be receiving this social welfare funding. And I think this is a crisis. So I think the way to do it is to really ensure that we empower our young people to be future ready, equip them with the right skills to address the 21st century challenges.
Yeah, and I think I just want to talk about a few Kenyans who are listening in, and we have Francis Mwiruri who's saying, happy Madaraka Day, Kenyans. We have Kosh Quadra 8 who says, happy Madaraka Day festivities, as well, talking about the president addressing land issues as well. He expects that to happen. We also have, again, Kosh is just talking about giving us history of where Kenya is from, especially when we got our independence and later being able to rule ourselves. And he further talks about a nuclear power plant requires water supply for cooling. These disqualifies northeastern region as a potential site, but they have lots of sunlight which can tap into solar energy. So he's talking about the resources that the region has and how they can be tapped and being able to supply power that is seemingly elusive and not enough, rather not adequate for the region. And we also have 97876 who says, for career opportunities, the president will have to address himself with regard to that. We're expecting the president will talk about job opportunities and how his government as well is going to work day and night to provide careers for the young people who majority are unemployed in the country. Unemployment as well is something that must be addressed during this Madaraka Day celebrations. We know the theme is on education, but as well, after education then comes opportunities, because after you've graduated, you need to do something. That as well must come up in President's speech.
You're very right, Dennis. I think that must be addressed. I mean, if you look at the unemployment rate, just in the region alone, Kenya tops. And if you look at the people we churn out from universities and colleges annually, over 30,000 very smart individuals, that we still have, I don't think the government is doing enough in terms of creating opportunities. I feel there's need to have, we have a lot of investors who are leaving the country, and most of these people, the media reports this, that they cite policies that don't favor private sector investments and things like that. And, you know, the work of the government is not to create jobs.
Yeah.
That is the work of the private sector. The work of the government is to create an enabling environment that allows industrialists, you know, like the Aliko Dangotes of this world, and others to come and invest into manufacturing and these job-creating sectors, so that our young people are able to get jobs. I think also one of the challenges that most of the young people have been facing, especially those who are trying to make a living out of small businesses here and there, is the question of taxation, which is heavy. Now we have the 2026-2027 finance bill coming up, and there are a few, I mean, a raft of taxes that have been including on things like smartphones, and you know, these are the tools that young people use now to take advantage of the digital economy and make a living out of it through, you know, platforms like TikTok and others. But I feel the government must really try to give incentives in terms of maybe tax exempt and other forms of incentives that really will encourage young entrepreneurs to really, you know, try and make a living out of these businesses. As it is, otherwise it's going to be a, you know, a chicken boom that can explode any time if we don't try to manage it well.
Yeah, you know, unemployment has been a problem for a very long time, but even while at that, then last week we saw the manufacturing sector entrepreneurs in the country raise their concern with regard to the Finance Bill 2026, and the President has also addressed himself on the same, and it's expected that he would also address it there, explain why the taxation regime is there as well, and also perhaps a discussion around fuel prices.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because you look at, but the reason why I bring up the conversation around fuel prices is you look at the far-flung regions, Wajir, and the distance from other towns from the port, right? So they spend more, so expect things to be expensive in the region. So are we likely to see the President explaining why situation is how it is?
Yeah, I think one of
and do you think he'll have to convince Wananchi?
I think one of the areas that the government must do enough is to communicate things the right way.
Yeah.
I feel most times it's been very top-down, you know. Yet, I mean, I've practiced development communication and policy communication for quite some time in the region. And, you know, you have to really communicate to people why things are the way they are and why things are not working in the right way, in the right tone. But I think that has not been forthcoming in that fashion. And the truth is, the fuel issue is not just a Kenyan problem. That is a global crisis. In fact, if you look at countries like the US right now, a liter of gas goes for about slightly over $4,000, which is way high. Countries in Europe, you know, the people are protesting there, you know, because things are becoming very expensive. And we know for a fact that fuel determines a lot of other economic factors, you know, be it transportation, be it, you know, small businesses. So it really impacts it impacts an entire value chain of socioeconomic activities. And I think that the government must try to find a way to cushion Kenyans against these shocks. Yes, some of these things are really beyond his capacity because he doesn't control the global supply chain of gas with what is happening between Iran and Israel and the US, the Hormuz. And really they must find innovative ways to try maybe address levies around fuel, and maybe that could really help remove this burden from Kenyans.
Another thing that Kenyans must, rather the president must ready himself to tell Kenyans today is the fact that there is insecurity that is associated with the region where he's headed to. So you have the Al-Shabaab menace, we have the opening of the border between Kenya and Somalia as well. That has to be discussed in the region, as well as the president assuring Kenyans of their security. So in terms of the president coming out to assure the country that it is safe, would you reckon that even just holding this event there alone is communication, a clear communication that Kenya is safe, Kenya is secure, and that despite us having a troubled border, that we're still here to mean business?
Right.
And what message does this then send to Al-Shabaab, per se?
No, I think it really sends a very strong message, like you pointed out, this is also part of Kenya, and therefore we will secure it. I mean, it's, but I think it should not just be a one-off thing. The security issue is not just a one-off intervention, like hosting such a national event there, having all the security forces there. I think we should build on this momentum and ensure that the right security teams or approaches are really deployed to safeguard the region. Yes, there has been issues around porous border with people coming from Somalia and causing menace there around terrorism and things like that. I think that those are some of the things that he should address, and not just address, but really try to, have very practical, tangible solutions to that in that region.
Yep. I think let's listen into what is happening in Wajir Stadium as you speak at the moment. We can see that we have students who've shown up, the residents there looking mighty beautiful. You can see the Kenyan flag there as the students line up to just show green, which represents the land, as well as white, which is peace, and red, the blood that was the blood during the fight for independence, as well as black, which shows the Kenyan people who we are. If we could just listen into what is happening in Wajir County.
Ambao ni machifu wetu na assistant chiefs kuwaleta wananchi hapa ndani ili wakati ya hotuba ya Mheshimiwa Rais tuweze kuwa pamoja. Langu ni kuzidi kuwa rai wote ambao wanaingia ndani tutulie tu na sherehe yetu itaanza wakati ukiwa sawa. Kumbuka kwamba mwaka huu makala ya 63 sherehe ya Madaraka, kauli mbiu tunazingatia masuala ya elimu, na ni kitu kimoja cha msingi sana. Maana kila muiza kisomo anajijengea ujinga. Wazazi wetu wametupa nafasi kwenda shuleni, tusome na tusome kwa zaidi. Ikiwa ni mada yetu au kauli mbiu ya makala ya 63, elimu. Ukishapata elimu unakuwa mbunifu, unapata ubunifu, na kisha baadaye maisha ya baadaye yanakuwa mazuri. Yote pamoja ni kwamba elimu, ubunifu na maisha bora ya kesho. Nikizidi kuwakaribisha wote ambao wanatupata hapa moja kwa moja na wale wanaotupata katika njia za mitandao ya kijamii, ukiwa kule nyumbani, tunasema karibuni sana. Wajir, tukiwakaribisheni nyote ili tuweze kujiandaa katika hafla yetu ya siku ya leo. Kumbuka kwamba ni kuhakikisha kwamba mitambo iko sawa. Tukizidi kuwakaribisha viongozi wote ambao wamezidi kujiunga nasi, maafisa wetu waliotuikwa nyadhifa mbalimbali za uongozi, wale wote ambao wanaendelea kufanya kazi katika maka mbalimbali, members of the food estate, tukiwakaribisha tunapoendelea kusubiri kuwasili kwa mgeni rasmi. Ikiwa tu ni kuhakikisha kwamba mitambo iko sawa. Sijui wenzangu kama mko sawa, mimi pia niko sawa. Matthew, are we comfortable? Thank you. So Iwapo tuko sawa, tutarejesha kwake Dan Mwangi ili tuweze kupata burudani upande wa chini. Mwenzangu Dan Mwangi, tafadhali tuendelee, tuko sawa jukwani.
Asante sana mwenzangu Mike Gitone. Niombe kurejea upande wa pili wa studio kuweza kuelekeza macho yetu kwenye runinga. Tafadhali naomba Adan Inclusivity in Education kutoka Isiolo. Upande wa pili wa studio tafadhali. Tuelekeze macho yetu kwenye runinga.
And those sights and sounds coming from Wajir County there, you've seen security officers getting ready to give the guard of honor as well as give us that march at the new Wajir Stadium. But let's touch base with Grace Nganga. Grace, or should I call you Nasra? We've seen a lot as well as the enthusiasm that the locals have. Anything that you can tell us in terms of the dignitaries who have arrived, as well as if you have any information on how far the president is?
That's why it is, Dennis Aseto. I told you I've changed my name for the next couple of days until I'm back to the capital. In the meantime, I really appreciate if you continue calling me Nasra. I'm feeling it. I love that name. But now we have changed our location. We're here at the VIP section where guests are walking in. We have seen various dignitaries walk in. We have seen there are different of them walk in, and that, as you can see, this is the parade. This is the parade. I'm sorry, there's a hitch there, but the parade is now preparing to march in as we wait for President William Ruto to come in any minute to come and officiate this particular event here in Wajir County. But things are top-notch. Security is beefed up. We've seen various dignitaries, and as I had said, just making their way into this stadium. In just a minute from now, we are going to be talking to the DG, or that is the Deputy Governor of Wajir County, who is also making his way in a few minutes to just tell us what this particular event means for the residents of Wajir and the wider northern region. I'm sorry, Aseto. But we are here. We are camping here since morning. Like I said, we've been here since 4 a.m. Security has really been beefed up. Residents have already thronged that particular stadium in huge numbers. It's actually full to the brim. Actually, others just have to wait outside because the gates are now being closed, meaning that President William Ruto will be here anytime once we see his deputy. But we are still waiting, and we're just going to be talking to a few dignitaries to tell us more about this particular event. Thank you so much. Karibu sana kwenye KTN News. We are finally in Wajir. Nairobi has been brought into northern eastern region. How does that even feel?
Well, we feel happy to be Kenyan, especially at this time under the leadership of His Excellency Dr. William Ruto. You know, this iconic sports facility has been done with less than 90 days. Of course, in partnership and collaboration with the Ministry of Defense. With me here is the chairman of Sports Kenya. The Sports Kenya's mandate is to ensure that the facilities that we construct are put into good use. And of course, you may be aware that we are developing stadium facilities across the country. From the iconic, the Taranta Stadium, or the Raila Odinga International Stadium, which is 92% complete, and which will be based of our AFCON 2027. We are also working on Kasarani International Stadium. We are working on Nyayo. We are working on over 30 stadiums across the country. And we are ready even to host our Mashujaa Day celebration at Kamarin in area Marakwet. So to the Kenyan sports fraternity, we are doing this just to ensure that you get the right opportunity for you to continue developing your talents. We know sports pay. Those who have talents, we have seen what talents can do. And therefore, we appreciate that we have talents across the country, in the parts of the country, including this northern region. We have talents. Immediately after this Madaraka Day, we are going to Madeira. We are also working on a stadium in Madeira, a similar size, 10,000 seater capacity, which will also host athletics, football, rugby, and many other games. Thank you.
All right. President William Ruto is not shy in ensuring that we have as many stadiums as we have in the country. So far, what is the progress and what are we seeing in the future?
Like you have just alluded, that the president intends to have every county to have a stadium, and that has been practical, starting from Momo Bay, where we saw one, and Kitui. We are now in Wajir, and to follow is Elgeyo Marakwet County. And in his idea, he intends to provide sporting facilities to all the Kenyans. And this promotes inclusivity, because previously major stadiums have all been located around Nairobi. But with the spirit of devolution and the spirit of ensuring that Kenyans have equal opportunities, the president has been deliberate to ensure that every county has a facility of a world standard. Yes.
So in future, are we seeing more of these national events being held also in other regions because of these upgrades of these stadiums?
Exactly. And you've realized that this kind of rotational events in terms of doing the national celebrations has really brought Kenya together, is unifying the country, and it has also made every Kenyan to feel that we are one, and this is not a preserve of a few. It's actually is a right of all Kenyans wherever they are. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. There you have it, Aseto. Those are just some of the dignitaries that are walking in here at the VIP section as we await for the commencement of this particular celebration that are being held here in Wajir. Like I said, and I've always said, it is quite a history that we are having national celebrations being hosted here in Wajir. But before I let you go, Aseto, we are going to be talking to the TVET chairman of Karibu sana kwenye ktnnews. Education, that is the theme of today, all right? And being a TVET chair, are we seeing more of TVETs being, developed in such regions moving forward?
Indeed, we are very grateful to be here today for the Madaraka Day celebration here at Wajir County for the 63rd Madaraka Day celebration. My name is Shadrach Tanui, the National Chairman of the Kenya Association of Technical Training Institutions. And indeed, we are proud that the theme of this particular Madaraka Day is education, skills, and the future. And from the TVET perspective, we are very proud that even our President is talking about the Singapore story. This is actually where the skills are being prepared for the youth to actually acquire the skills requisite for them actually to get self-employment, also even to be employed wherever they shall be in the future. And so this is the backbone of where the skills are nurtured. This is the backbone. Our colleges are now moving from the classroom setup to the workshops where practicals are really done. And courtesy of the change in the curriculum, today we have what we call modularized curriculum. In this case, then, we talk about the youth being given practical competencies that can actually enable them actually to fit into the industry. Previously, with the previous curriculum, we had more theories and a few practicals. But today, we are talking about dual training. We are talking about RPL, recognition of prior learning, for those persons who have the skills but do not have certificates. And so from the TVET space, now they can be certified and they can be able now to practice in the industry. So as we come to this particular Madaraka Day, we are happy as a sector that the country is going in the right direction. Our youth need to build confidence that wherever we are today, actually our future is well set. We thank His Excellency the President for the good initiative and actually for focusing on education and particularly the TVET sector.
All right, when we talk about the TVET sector, of course, it's a very key role. And even now, we are talking about education matters in these Madaraka Day celebrations. You're talking about Singapore and us going to Singapore. How many TVET institutions do we have in this north and eastern region, in particular here in Wajir County, perhaps?
Yeah, indeed. I start from the bigger picture. In the country, we have more than 250 public TVET colleges in practice. And here in Wajir County, we have been there for the last 3 days. We had a thematic week touching on the basic education, the TVET sector, and even also the universities. And yesterday, would see actually the Elimu Mashinani, which actually addressed a number of issues that touches on the education sector. Here in Wajir County, we can recognize that actually the TVET colleges that are in place are doing pretty very well. Starting from the Wajir East TVC, which has got a population of more than 150 trainees. We come to the Wajir South TVC. We come to the Ramu TVC. We come to the Wajir North TVC. And so all these colleges are really doing very well. Outside Wajir County, also we do have colleges in Mandera. We have colleges in Garissa, and they are also doing very well. We go to the Mandera, where we have got Mandera TVC. With a population of more than 1,500 trainees, these are the colleges which are really doing us proud. And so we can recognize that the reason why probably the president considered that this to be the host county for this particular Madaraka Day is actually also to open the door to the northern region so that they can be able to embrace and appreciate what is happening in the national perspective when it comes to education, and even in particular, because I come from the TVET sector, particularly the TVET space. We have been talking to the youths in this community for the last 3 days. We have been encouraging them about the importance of actually enrolling and going to the TVET colleges for the skilling purpose.
All right. Finally, before I let you go, as much as you're saying that the TVET institutions are doing well and you are growing from regions to region, what are some of the gaps that we feel are there that the president needs to address in terms of these TVET institutions in different regions, particularly also here in the northern eastern region?
Thank you. I think what I can be able to say from this northern region is the issue, what I noted here, for example, when we were in Wajir East TVC, is the issue of land, where you could see the challenge about the ownership of the land. The college has got a title deed, but the problem now is the squatters who are within the institution. I think we need to encourage the communities around where the TVET colleges are, because the government really wants to invest where there is assurance of government investment going on in the right direction. And probably we shall be able to appeal and request the public to really kindly support the government when it comes to releasing the land for use by the public institutions.
All right. Asante sana, and thank you for your time. We've heard from a lot. We now want to hear from a youth leader right here from Wajir County. Ali Eden, habari yako?
Labda yako.
Nashukuru. Salamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum.
Karibu sana kwenye runinga KTN. This is magnificent. This is something big for also the youth of Wajir County growing up. Did you used to watch these celebrations? How was it for you?
Indeed, this is a historic moment, and I can feel that Wajir County and the entire Northeastern, this is the Independence Day. Down the line, 63 years, we used to see these things, through the radio, watch through radio stations or maybe through televisions. But now it is live. The president himself will be giving his speeches through this place. And I really say that this is the independence for the Northeastern people and Wajir County at large.
So we are talking about education today, and I know for sure you've gone through the education system from Wajir County. What are the gaps that are there that you feel that the president should do when it comes to the technology, when it coast to CBC in the northeastern region? Is it even working?
Indeed, we have gone for a milestone. Education was a problem in this region for quite some time since independence, but for the last 3 years, things are improving. The most critical point that maybe need to be rectified is, types of electrification. Most of our area is rural, and electricity is a problem. And maybe smart learning. There's no internet. We cannot get access to internet, or maybe equipment for learning. So maybe when they touch on that ground, education really is growing big. Some 2-3 years back, we were complaining of lack of teachers, and now the government have employed over 100 of teachers all over the county, and we are no longer complaining about shortages of teachers. But now the bigger problem that we have, our schools, they don't have electricity. That's the bigger problem. And when equipment rises, computer things, and the CBC is generally, is digital things. So our students, they cannot get access to the internet logging and something like that.
So you feel like on that end, there is no really equality in terms of education because of the electrification and the technology?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
And that is what you're hoping the president will address?
Hopefully, the president will address education where we are lacking something, and also he might touch even again on this road between Madaraka and Wajir. I know that from Mandera and to Wajir, the construction of the major road is ongoing. What we are lacking is just in between Madaraka and Wajir County. Hopefully, when he says that and announces it, Wajir County people and the northeastern entire, they will be very happy. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much and enjoy your day. All right, there you have it, as settled. Those are just some of the sentiments from the residents here of Wajir. But just to mention is that so far we've had the speaker, the governor is here with us. Governor,
Asante.
momentum day for us.
Right. Quite proud, and this is quite historic. And as I was driving in, I saw multitudes of people were, some walking away because they couldn't get in. There's probably more people outside than there are inside. That's the excitement this has caused. And this is a matter of legacy for us because, as you know, the agony of the Kenyan people, the Somali people as well as being that they felt they are not included, they are not embraced. So given our history, this is a moment of pride for us, and the average Northerner today feels they are part and parcel. They are integral to the Kenyan nation.
Our theme today is education. What measure should we be expecting from the president in terms of education?
The president has done a lot in education. In this county today, we're having laboratories for schools. There's a lot of investments in TVETs, and there is a lot more going on. But we will hear his pronouncements. I don't want to preempt what the president is saying. I don't know what he's going to say, but I'm sure he has surprises for us. Thank you.
But in terms of what you're hoping that he will address in terms of education and the gaps that are in your region, what are really your expectations for your people?
For the first time, we have gotten affirmative action in form of recruitment of teachers. Every single constituency was given 100 extra teachers across this province. That's 1,800 of them. He has encouraged us to put a lot more kids into teaching colleges. So I know he's going to address every aspect of education from ECD to the university to technical training. Yeah.
There's been a perception about Wajir not being insecure. What do you tell other Kenyans?
My friend, this county was rated, and this is statistics from the police and Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, the safest county in Kenya. Our proximity to borders of Somalia and Ethiopia does not mean that we are insecure. We are the safest county and have been declared so. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much. That is the governor of Wajir, of course, giving us also his sentiments about this very, very historic event that is taking place in his county, the first of his kind, 63 years later. Aseto, I tell you, patience pays. Let us learn that virtue. Now, with his coming, like I said earlier, we've had the Speaker of the Senate, Amason Kingi, the Senate Majority Leader, Aaron Cheruiyot, and the National Assembly Majority Leader also here as well. That is Junet Mohammed. They're also here as well. But we are camping here. We're going to be giving you more from our end as and when we get them, even when the president and his entourage arrives here for these particular celebrations. From me, over to you, Aseta.
Thank you, Nasra. Also, Grace Nganga joining us from Wajir. He says that for the entire period that he is in Wajir County, we should refer to her as Nasra. And Nasra, it is. Let me just read a few sentiments that have been shared as well by Kenyans who are following through. And Kosh is saying, places of worship like mosques in northeastern region will benefit citizens, as well as sports academies in northeastern regions can be a great opportunity to showcase talent from the region, as well as Mohammed Hassan 1162 saying great work that is being done by the team, and that is why we are here to ensure that you are updated. And Steve, we've just heard from the locals there. We've seen the leadership as well address themselves on what they expect the president to do. And also fact that statistics show that Wajir is the safest county. Yeah. And that alone shows misinformation, disinformation, malinformation that perhaps has existed for a very long time because we have not been in touch with what the region is.
I think it goes back to what you were discussing earlier, which I think some of these stories need to be told. right? And it's good to see KTN really trying to communicate these stories, because, as you've put it, you know, when disinformation is led to just move around without countering this with facts, then we keep on having the same
information that
you know.
Yeah. I want us to go back to Wajir and just look at what is happening, because security officers are now getting to the venue, perhaps an indicator that President William Ruto is around the vicinity.
Gwaride ya siku ya leo. Asanteni kwa heshima, naomba tuketi tafadhali.
Very historic. Got independence 63 years ago. This area used to be called NFD.
Basi baada ya parade, adjutant kuhakikisha kwamba gwaride liko tayari siku ya leo. Ni zamu ya mkuu wa gwaride hili Luteni Kanali Onditi Vincent kuchukua usukani wa gwaride hili tayari kwa gwaride siku ya leo. Naye Adjutant baada ya kumkabidhi wadhifa huo anachukua nafasi yake rasmi ndani ya gwaride hili kwa muda mfupi sana aliyoweza kupewa. Basi kwa ishara ya ngoma ndogo hiyo, wakuu wa divisheni mbalimbali wakiingia ndani ya gwaride, simama mbele ya vikundi vyao.
The problems that our neighbors are facing, but our security officers are up to the task, and we continue to work very hard to secure our nation.
Right. Also in schools, safety also in schools, you can talk about that?
Safety of our schools, I think, is a component of so many of us because, you know, police officers are not deployed to schools, so it's critical that there's a greater partnership between our teachers, our students, and school management to guarantee security for our children. You know, by the time you deploy police officers to schools, it would be unfortunate. It is important that the school community cultivate a working relationship that can ensure that information is accessed and that students are able to confide in their teachers when there is any problem among themselves.
All right. Thank you so much. Enjoy your day.
Thank you.
Kindiki, waheshimiwa mawaziri walioweza kufika kupata kuwa nasi siku ya leo, wabunge wa gatuzi la Wajir, gavana wa jimbo la Wajir, FCPA, gavana Abdullahi Jir, jaji mkuu na rais wa mahakama ya upeo nchini, itifaki zote zikizingatiwa. Karibuni leo tarehe mosi Juni mwaka huu 2026, sherehe za Madaraka gatuzi nambari 8, gatuzi la Wajir. Wema uwanjani ni gwaride la heshima laandaliwa na majeshi ya ulinzi ya Kenya, mavazi ya samawati jeshi letu la wanaanga, mavazi mekundu jeshi letu la nchi kavu kikosi cha kwanza, mavazi meupe jeshi letu la wanamaji. Mkuu wa gwaride hili ni Luteni Kanali Onditi Vincent, naibu wake Meja Brahma Nyatangi Ondieki. Divisheni ya kwanza ya jeshi letu la wanaanga kituo cha Wajir chini yake Meja Douglas Wanjohi Mwangi OGW. Divisheni ya pili ikiwa chini yake Captain Hassan Hamadi Mahaba. Divisheni ya tatu ya jeshi letu la nchi kavu kikosi cha kwanza cha jeshi letu la nchi kavu chini yake Meja Bonfencha Ochieng. Divisheni ya 4 chini yake Meja Alinur Hussein Hassan, jeshi letu la wanamaji. Parade Adjutant Captain Brian Nyamohanga Chacha. Afisa aliyetwikwa jukumu la kubeba bendera iliyo fahari ya kituo cha anga cha jeshi letu Wajir, Luteni Eric Kanyoni Mwangi. Predaresem, Warrant Officer 1 John Ndegwa Mshiri. Maafisa wanaopeana ulinzi wa bendera hii, Sergeant Moses Atenya akishirikiana naye Sergeant Korir Kipkemoi. Kuondoa jukwaa la rais liko chini yake Sergeant Edward Kimodho. Flagstaff wetu, maafisa watakao kuwa wanawasiliana na ndege siku ya leo wakiongozwa naye Meja Kibya Njuguna, Captain Valentine Jomo, Captain Jaffrey Ali, Sergeant Priscilla Mchenje na Sergeant Felix Kipkoech. Pamoja na Base Sergeant Major Laikipia Air Base Warrant Officer 1 Mohamed Ado, pamoja na Base Sergeant Major Wajir Air Base Warrant Officer 1 Kimeto. Mziki unazidi kuporomoshwa na bendi za majeshi ya ulinzi. Chini yake mkurugenzi mkuu Kanali Cyrus Njagi. Hii leo uwanjani mkurugenzi wa mziki jeshi la wanaanga Captain Steven Kibui Njuguna. Parapanda za kumkaribisha Mheshimiwa Rais zikiwa chini yake Captain Kelvin Ochieng Omulo. Wakishirikiana naye Captain Simon Mwanganda, mkurugenzi wa mziki jeshi la wanamaji, pamoja na Meja Kelvin Kivudhi Nyaga, mkurugenzi wa mziki jeshi la nchi kavu. Drum Major Senior Sergeant Mwai Gatama akishirikiana naye Sergeant Eric Manani, Sergeant Moses Bet, Sergeant Wilson Gituma wa jeshi letu la wanamaji. Senior Band Master Warrant Officer 1 Ken Makoha. Basi kusubiri kuwasili kwa mgeni wetu rasmi, Rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya na Amiri Jeshi Mkuu wa majeshi yote ya ulinzi, tutapata burudani kutoka kwa bendi yetu ya Maroon. Lakini kabla ya Maroon, ningependa pia kutambua uwepo wao Inspector General wa polisi pamoja na manaibu wake wawili, mkurugenzi wa Kenya Coast Guard Services Bwana Bruno Sioso, pamoja na mkurugenzi wa masuala ya upelelezi ya jinai Bwana Mohamed Amin, wakiwa wameweza kuwasili. Nafahamishwa na mwenzangu pia wamewasili spika wa bunge yote mawili Mheshimiwa Moses Masika Wetangula, spika wa bunge la kitaifa, na Mheshimiwa Jeffa Amason Kingi, spika wa bunge la seneti. Turudi kwa Maroon Commandos, tuendelee na burudani tafadhali.
Kenya nchi yangu, Kenya naipenda sana, Afrika mzima, duniani kote Kenya ni mama yangu. Kenya nchi yangu, Kenya naipenda sana, Afrika mzima, duniani kote Kenya ni mama yangu. Naipenda Kenya ni nchi yangu, naomba wananchi tushirikiane tuijenge nchi yetu, tushirikiane tuijenge miji yetu. Viongozi wote wa nchi yetu, naomba kuendeleza Kenya yetu kimaendeleo, tutashinda kiuchumi na kilimo tutanufaika. Naipenda Kenya ni nchi yangu, naomba wananchi tushirikiane tuijenge nchi yetu, tushirikiane tuijenge miji yetu. Viongozi wote wa nchi yetu, naomba kuendeleza Kenya yetu kimaendeleo, tutashinda kiuchumi na kilimo tutanufaika. tumenufaika. Naipenda Kenya ni nchi yangu. Naomba wananchi tushirikiane tuijenge nchi yetu. Tushirikiane tuijenge nchi yetu. Viongozi wote wa nchi yetu, naomba kuendeleza Kenya yetu kimaendeleo, tutashinda. Uchumi na kilimo tutanufaika.
Wanafunzi na hali kadhalika wananchi mlioweza kufika kwa ajili ya hafla hii, tutawaomba muweze kutulia wakati parade commander atakuwa anatoa amri zake, ili tusiweze kutatiza gwaride kwa heshima. Tunaomba tafadhali kwa heshima, wakati parade commander atakuwa anatoa amri, tuweze kutulia tafadhali. Ningependa kutambua gavana wa Wajir, Governor Ahmed Abdullahi Jir, FCPA, na nimpishe mwenzangu aweze kuendelea na itifaki inayofuata kwa heshima.
Pia ningependa kutambua kuwasili kwake mama wa taifa Bi Rachel Ruto. We recognize and acknowledge the arrival of Her Excellency the First Lady. Wapi makofi ya mama wa taifa Bi Rachel Ruto. Karibu sana, Your Excellency, Her Excellency, the First Lady of the Republic of Kenya. Karibu sana sherehe yetu ya Madaraka Day hapa Wajir County.
Maroon Commandos, tuendelee tafadhali. Maroon Commandos. Kwa parapanda hizo ni dhahiri shahiri kwamba anajiunga nasi Rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya na Amiri Jeshi Mkuu wa majeshi yote ya ulinzi. Niombe kwa heshima tusimame kumkaribisha Mheshimiwa Rais tukiongozwa na bendi yetu ya Maroon.
Wapi makofi ya Mheshimiwa Daktari William Ruto. Karibu. Mheshimiwa Rais, utuongoze sherehe ya Madaraka. Wapi shangwe na vigelegele wananchi wa Wajir. Karibu.
Hilo ni hakikisho la rais.
Mheshimiwa Rais,
zamani tuliwe
makala ya 63
utani tuko na
wapi shangwe na vigelegele wananchi. Karibu. Karibu. Peperusha bendera wananchi, peperusha bendera. Moja. Karibu.
nguvu zetu za
Mheshimiwa Rais,
moja wetu
makala
Mzee Ali Bashiri
ya 63
tutahakikisha
Madaraka Day eneo gatuzi la Wajir.
haki hatukuomba.
Wapi peperusha bendera skauti. Karibu. Mheshimiwa Rais, utuongoze kwa sherehe ya leo. Moja. Mbili. Wapi shangwe wanafunzi. Tumkaribishe rais wetu kwa furaha. Karibu. Mheshimiwa Rais, makala ya 63 sherehe ya Madaraka. Kauli mbiu, elimu, ubunifu, maisha bora ya baadaye. Peperusha bendera wanafunzi, tumkaribishe rais wetu. Moja. Mbili. Karibu. Mheshimiwa Rais, utuongoze kwa sherehe ya leo. Peperusha bendera wananchi, tumkaribishe rais. Wapi shangwe na vigelegele. Karibu. Moja. Mbili. Karibu. Wapi shangwe wananchi. Karibu. Mheshimiwa Rais, utuongoze kwa sherehe ya Madaraka. Moja. Mbili. Wapi shangwe wananchi, mkono wangu wa kulia. Peperusha bendera ya mwani. Sherehe ya Madaraka. Karibu. Mheshimiwa Rais,
Asante Maroon Commandos kwa kutuelekeza vyema kabisa. Niombe kwa heshima tubaki tukiwa tumesimama kwa wimbo wa taifa na wimbo wa Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki. Waliovalia kofia zisizo rasmi, tafadhali kwa heshima tuweze kuzivua. Mkuu wa gwaride hili sasa akija kumwomba kwa heshima Rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya na Amiri Jeshi Mkuu wa majeshi yote ya ulinzi ruhusa ya kagua gwaride lililoandaliwa na majeshi ya ulinzi ya Kenya. Asanteni kwa heshima, naomba tuketi tafadhali. Anayemsindikiza Rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya ni Mkuu wa Jeshi la Kenya, Jenerali Charles Mreu Kahariri. Bendera ya kikosi hupewa heshima ya hadhi ya juu. Unavyoshuhudia hivi sasa uwanjani, Mheshimiwa Rais akipeana heshima yake kwa bendera hii ya kituo cha jeshi la wanaanga Wajir. idhini ya kuendelea na gwaride punde tu Mheshimiwa Rais atachukua nafasi yake kwenye jukwaa maalum. Kwa desturi za kijeshi, sharti bendera ya kikosi kuwa mbele ya gwaride unavyoshuhudia Kala Officer na Parade RSM wakichukua nafasi yao rasmi. Amri hiyo, wanajeshi hawa baada ya kuandaa gwaride la kufana siku ya leo sherehe za Madaraka kaunti ya Wajir, wanaondoka hapa uwanjani kujiunga na wenzao kudumisha ulinzi wa taifa letu la Kenya, kuhakikisha kwamba anga, mipaka na fuo za bahari zetu ziko salama masaa 24. gwaride hili ni Luteni Kanali Onditi Vincent, divisheni ya kwanza chini yake Major Douglas Wanjohi Mwangi, OGW, afisa anayebeba bendera iliyo fahari ya kituo cha jeshi letu la wanaanga Wajir, Luteni Eric Kanyoni Mwangi. Divisheni ya pili chini yake Captain Hassan Hamadi Mahaba, wakiwa katika mavazi yao rasmi ya sherehe. Mheshimiwa Rais, divisheni ya tatu jeshi letu la nchi kavu, kikosi cha kwanza chini yake Meja Bonfencha Ochieng, wakiwa katika mavazi yao rasmi ya sherehe. Divisheni ya nne jeshi letu la wanamaji chini yake Meja Alinur Hussein Hassan, wakiwa katika mavazi yao rasmi ya sherehe. Parade Adjutant Captain Brian Nyamohanga Chacha, mweka alama jeshi letu la wanaanga. Litafuata gwaride la vikundi, Mheshimiwa Rais, na kwa mengi zaidi nitawapisha wenzangu waweze kuendelea.
Mheshimiwa Rais, linafuata hivi sasa ni gwaride la vikundi likiongozwa na jeshi letu la nchi kavu, Kahawa Garrison A Company, Kenya Army Corps of Transport, wakiwa katika magwanda yao mazito ya kivita chini yake Major John Willy Githua, Company CSM, afisa mteule daraja la pili Azaya Shianonya, platuni ya kwanza chini yake Luteni Jason Kipkoech. Platuni ya pili chini yake Luteni Dorcas Naliaka Wahungu. Platuni ya tatu chini yake Luteni Khalif Guracha Boru, wakiwa katika magwanda yao mazito ya kivita. Wanafuata hivi sasa ni B Company, Kenya Army Corps of Signal, wakiwa katika magwanda yao mepesi ya kivita chini yake Major Paul Ngariba Chacha, Company CSM, afisa mteule daraja la pili Domisiano Arimi, platuni ya 4 chini yake Luteni Eid Momanyi. Platuni ya 5 chini yake Luteni Rachel Lechoe. Platuni ya 6 chini yake Luteni Hosea Kiplagat Kipkeu. Wanafuata hivi sasa, Mheshimiwa Rais, ni polisi wa kitaifa Kenya Police Service, wakiwa chini yake Superintendent Paul Omolo akishirikiana na Chief Inspector Paul Leado, kikundi cha kwanza chini yake Inspector Adandis, wakiwa katika mavazi yao rasmi ya sherehe. Kikundi cha pili, kikundi cha kinadada chini yake Chief Inspector Yusila Jepkosgei akishirikiana na Inspector Lilian Chale katika mavazi yao rasmi ya sherehe. Wanafuata hivi sasa ni GSU, wakiwa chini yake Chief Inspector John Dayan Lekuye akisaidiana na Inspector Vincent Korir, wakiwa katika mavazi yao rasmi ya sherehe. Wanafuata ni GSU katika magwanda yao mazito ya kikazi chini yake Inspector Said Kalama. Mheshimiwa Rais, wanafuata hivi sasa ni Administration Police Service, wakiwa chini yake Superintendent Steven Ndirangu akisaidiana na Chief Inspector Noah Bayajaka. Kikundi cha kwanza chini yake Inspector Ali Omar katika mavazi yao rasmi ya sherehe. Wanafuata hivi sasa ni askari wa kupambana na wezi wa mifugo, chini yake Inspector Lilian Matiaini katika magwanda yao mepesi ya kikazi. Wanafuata hivi sasa ni askari wa kupambana na majanga pale yanapochipuka, almaarufu Rapid Deployment Unit, chini yake Inspector Shaban Yusuf katika magwanda yao mepesi ya kikazi. Wanafuata ni askari wa kulinda mipaka, almaarufu Border Police Unit, chini yake Inspector Rafael Muneria katika magwanda yao mazito ya kikazi. Mheshimiwa Rais, wanafuata hivi sasa ni askari wa kulinda fuo zetu za bahari pamoja na maziwa yetu ya ndani, almaarufu Kenya Coast Guard Service, chini yake Sub Lieutenant Susan Mtakaye.
Mheshimiwa Rais, kikosi kifuatacho ni cha askari wa kulinda magereza yetu, chini yake Superintendent Alphonse Kitonyi akishirikiana naye Chief Inspector Abdinasir Adan. Kikundi cha kwanza chini yake Inspector Musa Mtai wakiwa kwa mavazi yao rasmi ya sherehe. Kikundi cha pili cha kinadada chini yake Chief Inspector Siombua Kiteme akishirikiana naye Inspector Susan Ndegwa wakiwa kwa mavazi yao rasmi ya sherehe. Wafuatao hivi sasa ni askari wa kupambana na ghasia magerezani almaarufu Anti-Riot Squad, chini yake Inspector Austin Mwanyangwa. Wafuatao hivi sasa ni askari wa kulinda mbuga zetu za wanyama, chini yake Warden Su Daniel Kirui akishirikiana naye Assistant Warden 1 Victor Kibiwot wakiwa kwa mavazi yao mepesi ya kikazi. Kikosi kifuatacho ni cha askari wa kulinda misitu yetu, chini yake Superintendent Jacob Pomu akishirikiana naye Chief Inspector Ali Zuya Athman wakiwa kwa mavazi yao mazito ya kikazi. Wafuatao ni vijana wa huduma kwa taifa, chini yake Superintendent Geoffrey Parkader akishirikiana naye Chief Inspector Kamwenga Kamanza. Kikundi cha kwanza chini yake Inspector Dinai Sindani Okiring wakiwa kwa mavazi yao rasmi ya sherehe. Kikundi cha pili kikiwa cha kinadada, chini yake Assistant Superintendent Jamila Wario akishirikiana naye Chief Inspector Lilian Makena wakiwa kwa mavazi yao rasmi ya sherehe. Kikundi cha tatu chini yake Inspector Benson Mudama wakiwa kwa mavazi yao mazito ya kikazi. Kikundi cha nne kikiwa cha kinadada, chini yake Inspector Ross Adwar wakiwa kwa mavazi yao mazito ya kikazi. Mheshimiwa Rais, wa kutufungia gwaride hili la vikundi ni askari wa gatuzi hili la Wajir, chini yake Chief Inspector Abdullahi Farah akishirikiana naye Inspector Said Mohamed wakiwa kwa mavazi yao rasmi ya sherehe. Tuwasindikize askari hawa wa gatuzi la Wajir kwa makofi tafadhali kwa kazi nzuri wanayoifanya.
Mheshimiwa Rais, ni zamu ya bendi za majeshi ya ulinzi kuondoka hivi sasa uwanjani baada ya kuletea muziki uliopangwa ukapangika siku hii ya leo. Nampisha mwenzangu aweze kuletea tamasha za ndege zetu tukiletewa na jeshi letu la wanaanga. Kwako Senior Sergeant George Kisuya.
Asante sana mwenzangu
Senior Sergeant Misango Mbae. Mheshimiwa Rais, yatafuata sasa ni maonyesho ya ndege za majeshi ya ulinzi. Leo hii tukiletewa na jeshi letu la wanaanga. Ndege za kwanza Mheshimiwa Rais zitakuwa ni ndege za mafunzo kama tunavyoshuhudia kutoka upande wako wa kulia, ikiwa ni ndege aina ya Globe 120 Alpha, zikiwa ni ndege za mafunzo ya msingi kwa marubani wetu. Rubani pamoja na mwanafunzi wake wakipaa leo hii kuweza kuyapasha makali mafunzo ambayo wameendelea kuyapokea katika chuo hiki. Mheshimiwa Rais, ndege zitakazofuata sasa ni Globe 120 TP, hii ikiwa ni ndege ya mafunzo kwa marubani kiwango cha juu ambayo hakika inashiriki hafla ya kitaifa kwa mara ya kwanza kabisa, na shukrani za dhati kwako Mheshimiwa Rais kwa ndege hizi ambazo zitatuwezesha kuwafuzu marubani wengi wa jeshi letu la ulinzi, marubani wa asasi mbalimbali za usalama, sekta zingine za serikali kuu, pamoja na marubani wa nchi marafiki, zikiwa ni ndege za mafunzo kwa marubani za Aviation Center of Excellence. Mheshimiwa Rais, kikundi kitakachofuata ni ndege zetu za kivita aina ya Tiger F5, ndege ambazo kawaida yake ni mwendo wa kasi, japo leo zikipita taratibu. Kutoka upande wa kushoto, Mheshimiwa Rais, 7 ship Arrowhead formation. Tuwape makofi marubani wa ndege zetu za kivita wanapoyapamba makala ya Madaraka. Mheshimiwa Rais, hivi sasa kila rubani akiweza kujiondoa katika mfumo huo ili waweze kutuletea maonyesho ya manuva, vile wao hukabiliana na adui angani, ardhini na pia kwenye fuo za bahari. Onyesho la kwanza, Mheshimiwa Rais, rubani wetu atatuletea manuva ya kivita ambayo rubani huidua ndege digrii 30 akipaa kuelekea juu akizungusha ndege kushoto au kulia ili aweze kuhepa makombora ya adui na pia kupata nafasi nzuri ya kuweza kutekeleza shambulizi.